Okay, so finally, Anthropic shipped the most powerful AI ever made, ever. Okay, um, it went public on Tuesday, and then I went crazy and couldn't sleep for several days using it. But then by Friday, the U.S. government decided to ban this beautiful thing, take it away from us. Um, and it's literally the most capable model on the planet, and it only lasts 72 hours, which is insane. Uh, we are going to figure it out, like, who actually won that week. And, well, because it was not the people who got the model, really.
Human in the Loop is a weekly podcast where two builders cut through the noise of the AI hype cycle and talk about what actually matters. I'm Matt Wozniak. I'm a serial engineer who comes from the lens of execution. I mainly focus on what works and what doesn't.
I'm Oscar Gallo, an AI engineer and entrepreneur, and I live in the intersection between businesses and engineering. Okay, so
Let's
uh,
go for it.
okay,
I'm just so excited. This is like such a crazy story. I just wanted. We got to talk
okay,
about this.
so let's jump into Singular Noise, where we discuss, the news, but without the hype. We go directly into what's worth it, or signal, or what is noise. Okay, so let's start with Anthropic release Fable 5 and Mythos 5. So on June 9, 2026, Anthropic released Claude Fable 5, the first Mythos class model. I remember that you said this, that now we're going to have Mythos class models, and it literally happened. Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
uh, okay, the Mythos class model the public can access alongside Cloud Mythos 5, a restriction version held back for government adjustments at cybersecurity work. So Anthropic calls Fable 5 the most capable model it has ever made publicly available, with state-of-the-art scores across nearly every benchmark it tested and standout results in software engineering, knowledge work, vision, scientific research, and autonomous task execution. Um, when Fable 5 launched that day, I was actually not fully convinced about the idea. And I was like, this is probably just Opus 4.9. Like, in my head, it was like, this is probably just a small increment, and probably it's like bench maxing, like we have seen before with all these models,
Yeah.
right? So I was like, I don't know if I want to spend my time on this, but I was like, okay, let's try it. Like, why not? So in the night, I just prompt one thing and I left it work, and it worked for like an hour and a half, something like that. When I came back in the morning, well, my surprise is that everything worked out of the box, and I was impressed. I was like, okay, that's usually never happens with Opus. Like, yeah, if you are like very specific, yeah, it will work. But if you're like very vague about what you want, like it just goes off rail all the time. So I was like, this is interesting, and it really caught my attention. I was like, you know what? I need time for this. I need time for this. I need time for this. So I'm going to ignore clients today. Um, let's jump into the bandwagon and let's see what's going on. And, well, y- y- we have talked about this, but in Valley Sheet we have several products that we use, and one of them is Here I Am. Here I Am started as just this web internet agency where we make fully automated like websites and other things. But our idea there is pretty much like small businesses, to help them being active in the internet, literally. But we have been working in the past weeks in what we call the operating system of an AI native internet agency, right? And our idea is actually to create like this massive harness around codecs and other agents. And we've been working for the past weeks, and so far it's going good. But when Fable launched, I was like, let's try to superpower this process, to see how good it is. And I start throwing like around 4 to 5 tasks every single time to each instance of Fable 5. And it went through all of them, finished them, did test everything, and this is a desktop application, because we need access to the system and other things. And it just went through it like crazy. And what I was impressed is that it got everything right the first time. And I remember thinking, this is what Opus needed to feel like. Like it was this feeling of like this is amazing. Like this is insane. Like this is really, really something that we call actually agentic versus a simple copilot, or something. Like it doesn't feel like that anymore. I was thinking, so I was, what? Let's drop more things to this thing. And I just like whole 2 days nonstop, like throwing tickets to this thing, nonstop, nonstop, nonstop. And I'll say that before, because we got several projects, we're probably like 15% add-on on this new operating system. Now we're probably like 50%, 60% in just 2 days. Like it was insane. Like I don't know how they did it. Okay, my respects to the Anthropic team, and I will eat my words. Okay, when they were talking about Mythos, I said like this is going to be like just some, you know, marketing really behind. Just like every time Gemini launches a new version, it's like the best coding model ever, and then you try it and it sucks. I was really thinking it was going to be like that, because that has been the line so far, and this was not the case. This really, really is the first actual change that I can feel in the industry, and it's insane. It's insane to see this. Like it's insane. I don't know what you think about it.
So, I mean, I kept seeing everyone talking about Fable, and I took a short holiday this weekend, so like we were talking before we started recording the podcast, I did kind of miss the boat. I was able to fire off one prompt, and it was just like a very simple test prompt, and I saw it like it was impressive with the little bit of use that I gave it, but I planned on sitting down and using it a lot this week. So this news kind of breaks my heart. The fact that it's like I don't even get to use it now. And I did see you guys talking in the Discord about it, and I saw the Here I Am upgrade that we've been working on. It does look great. It's crazy. It was, and like you said, the fact that it just worked like out of the box is nuts. And I think this is probably the second time that we've been wrong on the podcast, because we really thought like GPT Spud was going to be like a big bust, but like it turned out to be pretty good. And now we were saying the same thing about Mythos. We said over and over like, oh, this is just a marketing stunt. Like, their steak is too juicy. They're going to sell a lot of subscriptions, and here we are. We were wrong, and it is great. And the fact, and we also talked about the fact that the government being involved in this is always at the detriment of the end user, which is us, the people, and that's proven immediately. The first major release that's released since this deal that they were brokering is immediately blocked, and now nobody can use it. Right. So it's my real question is, at what point are we going to be capped out on like the performance of the agents we can even use? Right? Is Opus 4.8 like the best we're ever going to get now? Because the next best got blocked, and I imagine if they make an even better one, it's not going to get released, right? We might not ever even hear about it. So where does that leave us, like in the long run, right? And not even the long run, in the short run. Where does that leave us by August when they eventually came out with like a new one?
Which this actually take us to the second news, which is what you said.
Yep. So the second news: Trump administration bans foreign access to Fable 5 and Mythos 5. This is 100% signal. So what happened? 3 days after the launch, as Oscar eloquently explained, 72 hours after Tuesday when it went public, Axios broke the news that Trump administration had ordered Anthropic to cut off foreign access to its most capable models. The Commerce Department issued an export control directive, placing Fable 5 and Mythos 5 under export controls. And Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick sent a letter to Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei, requiring the company to suspend all access by foreign nationals, including Anthropic's own foreign employees. Kind of a weird thing for them to even be able to do, but okay. So the trigger was another company claimed it had jailbroken Mythos, which alarmed the administration about the cyber capabilities getting loose. Anthropic said it had to abruptly disable access to the models for all customers to comply, then publicly disputed the directive, arguing that standard commerce used would halt every new frontier model deployment across the industry, not just theirs. And this, like I said, this is directly what I was just saying. Like, are we maxed out on the agents we even have now, the models that we can even use? Is this the peak of our agentic existence, right? Like outside of working on government projects or working directly in Claude or Anthropic or OpenAI, like what's going to be publicly available at this point, you know?
Through like you know, like Anthropic CEO is always being annoying about this, you know, like not literally like a week ago he was like, oh, AI is too like is too much, like we need to stop the building new things, blah blah blah, you know. And he says this and then he launches Fable 5, because you know it's just
Yeah, exactly.
pure nonsensical stuff from his. I believe nothing from this guy, you know. I love his work, but I will then trust even Good Morning or from him. Like he's a liar,
I'm
and
with you.
and he has been like, "Oh, please regulate us! Oh, please regulate us!" And then the Trump administration, okay, you're regulated, and they're like, "Oh, but not like that," you know, like,
Not like that. No.
like, oh
Like,
no, you know, no,
whoops.
yeah, we have been calling for this for years, and now that it really happened, we're crying about it,
It's like that
and
meme of the
then
dude riding the bike with the stick and he like puts it in
yeah.
the tire. It's like, oh no.
That's literally exactly what happened. Like it makes no sense, you know, being this annoying about regulation and then you get regulated and then you're crying about regulation. It's like you deserve it, dude. But the worst part about this, like you make us lose a great tool like Fable 5, okay? And
Yep.
I hate it because I really felt the difference for the first time in a long
Hmm.
time of models. Uh, and it's kind of sad, and there are a lot of comments around in the internet, especially in our circles, because like everybody knows everybody. But they say that actually the person who pulled the plug on this and asked Trump to stop Fable 5 was actually the CEO of Amazon. Like I'm not 100% sure about this. Okay, this is comments. Okay,
Wait, Jeff Bezos?
and he's not the CEO anymore. He's just,
Oh, right.
yeah. I remember his name. Uh, he's not Val.
Oh,
Somebody
Andy
else.
Andy Jassy, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So
I'm on a
they
date.
made a
I'm on a
comment
date. I
that
thought it was Jeff.
they made the
That's
comments that supposedly when he dropped, a few AWS engineers asked for some crazy stuff and they were able to jailbreak a lot of stuff from Amazon. And looks like the CEO kind of freaked out because
Mhm.
he knew that it was going to be like millions and millions of dollars on losses. So he pulled the plug. He called Trump and he was like, "Hey, please regulate this." Like, uh, which is pathetic. Like, instead of fixing the whole thing, I mean, they got access to Mythos like what it was 1 month before us, right?
30 days at least, yeah.
And the fact that they cannot do the same thing, like it just doesn't make sense in my head. I think they're afraid. I think they're afraid. 100% sure they're
Hmm.
afraid. But at the same time, even the regulation is completely loose and it makes no sense because it's like
Yeah.
anybody that is not a US citizen. And they're like, yeah, half of Anthropic is not a US citizen.
Yeah, and like,
I, I don't
I
even
mean,
know
are
if
there
the CEO
penalties?
is an American citizen. He's Israeli, no?
I don't know, but we've talked about this, right? Like, these types of like rules are great, right? But like, is there a penalty if you break the rule? And if so, like, who's enforcing it? Because that's what matters, right? Like, you could say jaywalking is against the law, but if I walk across the street and nothing happens, it doesn't matter, right? It's not a real law. Like, but and like even the thing like with Jeff Bezos, right? He's breaking a law every month, and maybe this is AI fake news, but like I've read this thing about his hedges where they're so tall, he's got to pay 10,000 a month or something because they break the building code, like wherever he lives. And he's like, yeah, I don't care. Pay $10,000 a month, and I really don't care. So it's not a real
Hmm.
law, right? There's no enforcement, and
Hmm.
that kind of like, it's making me wonder about this. But when you were talking about this, right? I don't remember who it was that was able to jailbreak it. But somebody was able to jailbreak it, right? And this is kind of a throwback to one of our earlier episodes. I'm wondering how long until Team Shiny Hunter's back in the news, right? With saying like, "Hey, we actually still have Fable. Like, you put it up for 3 days, and that was plenty of time for us to take it, and now we're using it, right?" And if some team, even some team at Amazon, was able to jailbreak it, or whoever else, are they better or are they worse than Team Shiny Hunters, who's been in the news multiple times for hacking into things like the most backdoory ways possible? And now I'm wondering, like, how long until they're in the news again, or another group similar, right?
Maybe that they were involved in this, because
Possibly.
it's clear to me that something happened there. Something happened there that they made them freak out. To be fair, we're using this for the good of people. Okay, we're trying to build something to help businesses. Like, we are not there trying to, I don't know, to destroy the banking industry, which won't be a bad idea from a point of view. But clearly there
We
are
take out
people
some
who are.
loans first.
That'll be great. but in general, I will say that, okay, it's good, but it's really that impressive, or maybe it's because they were able to jailbreak it. They think they can use it for something really evil, right? Like, my question is, like, was something evil done with this model, or it was easier to jailbreak than expected, so they're afraid that you can do something evil with it? But again,
Right.
doesn't matter the amount of training you put into this. If you speak more than one language, it's pretty easy to jailbreak most models, because most of the trainings and the safety rules are made in English. Try to speak to this thing in Albanian, and it will do whatever the hell you want. Like, because there's no training on that. Like, literally, there's no training. There's no rules. There's no nothing. Sadly, in Spanish it doesn't work because, well, there's a lot of Spanish stuff, in the internet. So, but if you use, I don't know, Romanian, if you use Albanian, like some language that there's not really that many speakers, like, you will be able to jailbreak it faster. So I don't know. I have a lot of questions about this. This 100% signal, but in the worst ways possible, sadly.
I got one follow-up, right? And so it's the there's many different branches of the U.S. government. There's many different cabinets, right? And it's interesting to me that the one that's directly involved with this is Commerce Department, right? It's not like Defense Department. It's not Department of War. It's not like the military. This is Commerce that's involved, which I think is very telling.
Kind of weird.
Right? Like, well, if you think about it, right? Like, that is what they're. I mean, I don't know this for a fact, right? Like, I don't know Howard Lednick. I've never talked to him. I've never been to any parties with him. I've never been to any dinners with him. But the fact that the Commerce Department is the one involved in this lockdown tells me that that's probably what they're most concerned about. That's probably where they're most vulnerable, right? And that's the department that raised the flag first, saying, "Hey, this might be a problem for us specifically," right? Like, we're not worried about Fable being able to hack into our drones for our military. We're not worried about them being able to hack into our tanks or our fighter jets or whatever. This is like maybe something about Fort Knox, maybe something about, like you said, the banking industry. This is it's very telling to me. It's very interesting also. Which department is the one that's involved?
It's highly probable that in this process they are worried about distillation from Chinese models, because, well, I like that Chinese models are going into the open source route. I think it's great, actually. But they're still fairly behind on the generality. Okay, you can use a lot of these models for specific tasks, and they are going to be really good. Okay, they are going to be fine. And the conversation we had with Jackson we point out that, like, indeed, for a specific task, you're going to get like good results. But on the general, like, trying to use it as a one tool for everything, like we do with Cloud, it's not there. They are not there. Okay, they are not even close. Like, they are. If I will say that Fable was 100 and Opus was 70, the best Chinese model is probably like 35. out of 100 in the best case scenario. But I think that in that process, they are afraid of getting the steal, and then tomorrow we get a deep seek Fable version or something like that, and they will freak out, right? Because the Chinese are well known to use like distillation farms all around the world, and they look like individual users paying for it, right? So that could be the case too. That they internally they know that they can be hacked, but on top of that, like the distillation can make it that now they can hack them faster, right? So it can be some of that. That's what I imagine. But yeah, this is crazy news.
Yeah.
Crazy
I'm sure
news.
it's not the last we'll talk about this either. This is the first of
Yeah.
many iterations of this.
Bring back Fable. Bring back Fable, or we will revolt. This is you cannot do that.
Free my boy Fable.
Yeah, free my homie. This is not correct.
That's funny.
Okay, so let's go into the next one. This is a little bit more boring, okay? So excuse us, the first two, they were over the top. But this is an interesting one too. So OpenAI filed for confidentially for its IPO. This is really interesting because we're not talking about this, but a few days ago, SpaceX IPO, they created around 4,400 new millionaires, which is insane. And I really believe they will grow way more, And Elon Musk became a trillionaire, and now there's a lot of like blue hair feminists angry at life because one guy make money out of something, Like I don't know, they're crazy. But that was the first 1 trillion IPO, I think, in the history. OpenAI is going to be the second, probably. That's the reality. And then we will have Anthropic with the third one. Like, these are crazy. This is going to be a crazy year, man. Like this, and we try not to talk about like when a business raises some money or they IPO, because most of the time it doesn't make any sense. But this is unprecedented. But let me read now. On June 8, 2026, OpenAI confirmed that they feel a confidential S1 with the SEC, with Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley. Reported targets range from 730 billion as high as 850 billion, with some sources floating a stretch towards 1 trillion. And my take is that it's actually going to be 1 trillion. And they will probably try to, this is kind of like the last mile, and they will push for it. They will push for it, and they will try to take 1 trillion, just like because Anthropic will do the same, and SpaceX already did the same. And once one of them can do it, the next will follow, right? This is really interesting because we had this conversation before, but we agree that we feel that Anthropic needs to be in a better place money making wise, because they have great like picture models to create pictures. They have a GPT 5.5 is actually pretty good model, but they try to do too much at the same time, and they kind of are all over the place and end up spending a lot of money. We already talked really bad about Sora, for example. We knew it was going to be a stupid idea, but hey, it is what it is, right? So I think they can stretch this, and my take on this is that they will launch a new version. They will try to really try to get Fable 5, something close to Fable 5, to launch it on their own version, of course, on OpenAI, to increase the value of their IPO. That's kind of like my take there, So I don't know if it's going to happen. To be fair, I'm not sure if that will be the case, but that's what I imagine, because it will make sense on the money side, of course, on the money side. So yeah, I don't know what you think about that.
Well, so I'm not a financial advisor. I wish I were, because they make a lot of money. I'd love to be one. But yeah, I mean, this space, I mean, like you said, SpaceX, they released, he's a trillionaire. A bunch of people are millionaires now. I do see like I was checking the stock prices when you were talking about the story just because I was interested to see how it went. It did peak and then dip, but like that's just business, baby. That's like
As
how it
always.
works. This
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's
Uh-huh.
gonna happen. Um, I've recently been trying to get more into finance, like investments and stuff like that, because I'm getting old. I'm like 34 now. Something I probably should have been doing for the past 15 years. I'm a bit late to the game, but I do see it as being like an interesting buy, the SpaceX stuff. But in OpenAI, I also see it as being a decent buy. Like at least like if you get in early, like people who bought Tesla early are really rich now. People who bought Google early, Microsoft early, Amazon early, like all these. If you get in early, you're almost guaranteed to make money unless something catastrophic happens, like with the was it the Blue Horizon spacecraft like exploded, right? And
Mhm.
I mean, even that, it's going to go up. Like you bet on the market will go up. That's what I've read. But this open AI, I think if it goes public, it's not going to affect how you build day to day. But if you're in investments, it would probably be a decent thing to buy into. I don't know if I will or not. I got to talk to my investments guy. 'Cause I don't have time. I don't have time to like read up on everything to constantly invest. So that's what you pay like someone who does to do it for you. But I think, um, like you said, this is the direction they're going to go. Right? They've been marching in this direction for a while now with all these VCs, all these investors. They got to make their money back one way or another. Whether it's from monthly subscriptions or it's from going public, like they'll make it back. And it, like you said, their SpaceX broke a trillion like on day one. OpenAI is already almost over $1 trillion company, so they'll break a trillion easy. But like how many more trillions are there to be had? Like, it's a lot of money. That's a crazy amount
Well,
of money.
3 trillions the same year? It's insane. Like
Yeah,
we're talking more money than the whole economies in the European Union, brother. Like I
yeah.
think they don't realize how big these businesses are, and some very cynic people, will tell you, "Oh, those are just inflated, whatever." Okay, maybe. Okay,
Hmm. Well,
still,
yeah,
why you don't inflate your weird business, right? Why you cannot
yeah.
take
Why'd
that
you make your prices so?
inflation?
I was thinking
Like
that too, because like after World War II, I used to be like a big history buff, and after World War II, it literally cost like a trillion Deutschmarks to buy a loaf of bread, just because like of inflation was so bad. But whether they go public, whether they stay private, I mean, for the stories we read earlier, you might not even be able to access their new models. So it's really not. It's noise in the long run for builders, for
mhm.
investors. This might be something important. Um,
I,
but yeah, I'm not a
I,
finance guy, so I'm not.
I was
I
what
Go ahead.
I was watching a cartoon, on Twitter that said, like now with Sam Altman saying, "Here is a new Chat GPT version, completely safe. It cannot hack. It cannot do anything. Please, 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 don't take it away from us." And it's just like so funny because that will probably be the case, right? Like they will be afraid on the next launch. They will be like, "Oh, no, no, no! Like this is like a butterfly. It will never hurt anybody."
Well, it only affects U.S. like labs, right? What if this leads to U.S. labs, emigrating out of U.S. into other countries and setting up shop there? Like they got to walk a fine line, the government with these types of mandates because they don't have like a worldwide mandate, right? They only affect
Mhm.
U.S. companies, and you can tariff the company, you can put sanctions, whatever you want to do, but if you make it an environment where people can't build the best things they can build, they're going to leave and they're going to go somewhere where they can.
100% agree.
And that goes not even just for companies it goes for companies just as much as it goes for countries, right? Like if you handcuff your employees, you handcuff your engineers, then they'll go somewhere where they can build the best product they're allowed to build, I guess.
100%. Yeah.
Okay, next story. OpenAI models and codecs land inside Oracle Universal Credits. This this seems like a big deal, to be honest. And to be fair, I haven't had an OpenAI subscription in since like January. I think I've been fully on board with Claude since I migrated to Claude Max. I basically unsubscribed from OpenAI. I still use it a lot, but not to the extent that I use up the tokens from the free version. because I use it very sparsely. So what happened? On June 10th, 2026, OpenAI and Oracle announced that enterprises can now apply their existing Oracle Universal credits towards OpenAI frontier models and codecs through Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. So in layman's terms, it means a company that already committed a cloud budget to Oracle can spend it on OpenAI without opening a new vendor or a new line item, a new contract, or a new procurement. So availability starts in the coming weeks. It is a small headline with a larger lever, because in the enterprise, the blocker is rarely the model. It's the overhead, it's the paperwork, it's the red tape that goes along with adding this type of stuff. So this is actually for like a lot of our listeners are like the executives at the higher levels of these companies that like really don't have time to be sitting there building stuff. So this, if that's you, this is signal, I think, for you. And I mean, let's face it, Oracle is humongous, right? Even though they laid off like 30,000 people, they're still one of the biggest like vendors for all of software. Like that's just
Mhm.
the nature of it. And if you're spending on Oracle, you can apply that spending to OpenAI. And it's interesting, right? Because a lot of enterprise companies, like a lot of these companies have been debating like, do we use Copilot? Do we use OpenAI? Do we use Claude? And this pretty much answers the question for you, right?
Mhm.
What do you think?
I think this is great for enterprise because let's be real. Before that, the most enterprise adjacent models that you can use is probably something from Microsoft, and they suck. They're horrible. Copilot is such a piece of crap. Like, please, nobody use Copilot. And I mean GitHub Copilot because I know they have like 40 products with the name Copilot that it makes absolutely no sense, but they love to do it right that way. Um, this is great news because if you are in the enterprise world, which is really slow and not the best in the universe, now finally you have access to state of the art models that you can use and do great work. um this will be a game changer because we know that anything that is enterprise is slow. Maybe this will be the first time ever where enterprise will be less slow. I'm not saying fast because that's a stretch, okay, but less slow probably is possible. So really happy for them. I hope they can do great things with these models. I'm sure more than one boomer will be completely impressed by this.
Wait, you mean Oracle? Oracle and OpenAI? Like peanut butter and jelly now. Cool. So that was the news. Very, very busy news week. And it was mostly just busy because this Fable debacle is like a humongous story right now. And everybody's feeling it. Like I said, our Discord's been going nuts. Like everybody was sharing all the cool stuff they were building for like so many days, and then all of a sudden everyone's like, no, no.
The
So
pain.
okay. Yeah, it sucks. But like, okay, so now let's get into our second segment this week, which is Stack Check. Stack Check, we both bring in something like that is like a new tool, or something that we want to demo, or like a new framework, something new that we tried out that we want to talk about, and we give you basically our verdict on, like, was it awesome, was it sick, or is it a waste of time? We would have done Fable, but it's, can't use it anymore. So like, we don't want to get everyone's hopes up and tell you how sick it was, even though we have been. But we can't do Fable 5 as a stack check because it's not actually available anymore. So that kind of made us scramble a bit these past couple of days to say, oh man, now we got to retest something. We got to figure something out. So the first one we got is Cloud Agent SDK. It's the agent loop that you don't have to write. So what is it exactly? Anthropic's library for building agents on the same machinery that runs Claude Code, basically. It was renamed from the Claude Code SDK in late 2025 once it became a general purpose runtime, not just a coding assistant. You run the same agent loop that powers Claude Code inside your own processes on your own infrastructure in Python or TypeScript. In April 2026, Anthropic added Claude managed agents, the hosted version where Anthropic runs this harness, the sandbox, and the session log for you. As of June 15th, 2026, Pro and Max subscription plans get a dedicated monthly agent SDK credit pool, separate from the interactive Claude usage, so SDK workloads stop eating your chat limits. So, what does it replace? What does it augment? So, if you have hand rolled while loops, the custom tool dispatch code, the half built sub agent system that every team tries to write once and then regrets, the local orchestrator that you tried to build, you kind of just stopped using. If you were gluing together like your own Claude agents harness, like trying to keep it on track, trying to build the rails, the guardrails that everyone talks about, this is the stuff that you can delete now. This is built inherently into Claude SDK if you're at the right subscription tier. So why does this matter? It is the same loop that Anthropic uses to write its own code. It's given to you as a primitive. It's sub agents. It's tracing and evaluation come all built in. This is what the important part is. The catch though lives in the docs in plain sight. So any agent longer than one turn needs a durable state in Postgres, in Reddit, in object storage. You need it somewhere. So the important thing for this is you want to treat the SDK session as a throwaway because it's not going to be remembered. It'll do its work and then it's gone. Poof. It's nothing. It's fairy dust, like Matthew McConaughey said. And the conversation log, it uses that as a source of truth. So the SDK gives you a loop. It does not give you RAM. It does not give you memory. It does not give you long-term storage. So my question is always, how much is this going to cost? Right? It's awesome that in the higher tiers, we're already paying $200 a month. They're like, here, you get these cool tokens, right? And it brings me back to the same question that it did like last episode. We said, hey, the bill's coming due. Everything's going to usage based. Is this another thing that they're trying to get me addicted to so that, in August they can say, hey, now it's $500 a month if you want to keep doing this. If you want to go back to the crappy, like, non SDK version, sure, pay your 200, but we're moving this up now. You got to pay 500. And, at what point, I mean, they got to make money, right? They're a business. They're going to keep building new stuff and they're going to keep building cool stuff. But like, we're already paying $200 a month, and that's kind of a lot. And I love all this new stuff they're building, but at what point is everybody going to get priced out? And that's always my concern, right? Because if they're building things to build the best thing they can, then that's great. But if no one can afford to use it, what's the point? So,
That's a
I mean,
great point.
yeah, go ahead.
Like I was thinking, well, two things. I think that in Valley Seed, our general idea is like never ever close your options, right? Like
Mhm.
don't go with one vendor because what if that vendor fails? You don't have a product, you have a necessity for
Yep.
something. So for some business, that should not be the case, right? Like never.
Yep.
So internally for us, we'll never use it. But if you're a business and you have your team and you want to experiment a little bit with loops, with agents and all that, it's great. Actually, go for it because this will be like a great way to start, like dipping your toes a little bit on the water, just to understand a little bit better how they work, what they do, and this is a great beginner tool. I will make the case. Um, but once you graduate and you understand things better, you should probably leave it. Uh, but I agree that this is probably one of those things what they're trying to actually make more money, and eventually they will just separate this into an even higher tier, which is insane. This is the first time in my life that I pay a subscription that is $200. Like I'm freaking out about it.
Yeah, that's nuts, right?
Um, and I will tell you, I won't pay 400 or 500, even 300. I don't think so, really.
That's like a car payment, dude. For some people,
Yeah,
that's like a car
exactly.
payment.
Yeah. That's it's an Ultima.
Cherry bomb, like a Chrysler 300, like a
Yeah.
2010.
You read my mind. But yeah, like it's obvious to me that that's insane. That's insane. But we'll see probably that process happening uh in faster than we imagine.
Yeah, I mean, that's the scary part, right? And like you said, I'm glad you brought that up because, at Valley Seed and with all of our clients, basically, the thing that we always try to like really pound into them is you need to be self-sufficient. You need to be self-reliant. If you have a dependency on like a third-party vendor, you're that's a bad thing. Like you could go out of business. Like if you're 100% dependent on this third-party tool, you're gonna have a bad time. You're gonna have a bad time, and you need to get yourself self-sufficient, self-reliant, and that's what we do at Valley Seed. Everything we have is like we built it up ourselves. We use our own tools. We use our own services. And for a lot of our clients, that's what we help them do. We help them decouple themselves from their clients, or not from their
We
clients, but rather from their dependencies.
wish this comes to the side of, if you need help with AI, send us an email. Okay, we're going to put something around here, which is hi@valleyseed.com. Okay, somewhere here. We'll be happy to help you in your process and to properly have AI in your business without spending all the money in the world, of course, because we care about growing businesses instead of just token maxing like some people.
Yeah, yeah. No, we'd love to talk to you. Talking's always free.
Exactly.
But for this
So
one,
okay,
this stack check, just to bring it back, because we never really gave a verdict. I do think this is an amazing tool, and
yeah.
I do think it will really like augment your delivery speed and efficiency. But at the same time, I would warn you against becoming dependent on it. Because if you could get the rug pulled out from under you, just like we're predicting it now. Like, I don't know when or if it'll happen, but if it does, we're going to reference episode 10, say we talked about this. I hope you decoupled yourself from this, and I hope you're not dependent on this because now you're paying 500 a month. you know? So that's my
Agree,
verdict.
agree. Yeah, I agree with you. I think this is a great tool. Please go and check it out. Understand how things works and eventually decouple from it. Okay?
Mhm.
This is a great tool to start. Go for it. Okay? This is like the junior leagues, right? Pretty much. But you can do great things even in the junior leagues. That's a reality.
Yeah.
And once you understand things better and you are better in general engineering and all these things, just decouple from that. So okay, let's go to number two. In this case, we're going to talk about LangGraph and LangSmith, which is pretty much an orchestration layer. And first, I'm going to say something that pissed me off a little bit. I hate that people refer to these tools as agents or building agents or like like I hate the use of that word. Is so annoying. It's so annoying. It's so annoying. But what is LangGraph? Okay, LangGraph is a graph-based framework for building agents as nodes. Okay, so nodes and edges actually, instead of one loop, which is the case of the first one, right? So in early 2026, it was a grew AI in GitHub starts, having running nonstop pretty much, and it's driven by teams that wanted production traits. The kind of the for loop could not give them pretty much because it's sometimes it can do great and sometimes can do really really bad. That's kind of the reason, right? So we're pretty much talking about audit trails, rollback points, and checkpointing. It saves the state at every node, so a run can resume from the last good steps instead of starting over and over and again. And well, Langsmith is just the observability layer on top that you can use. It's pretty much tracing, evaluation, debugging of any LLM that you can imagine. Um, if you had to imagine what this is, it's make.com. Make.com is just a wrapper on top of this, or a N8N. That's another tool that is pretty much this. Just more visual. It's less programming, more visual. Uh, but this is a great tool because pretty much one of the main issues that we have with LLMs is that they are non-deterministic, right? And because they are non-deterministic, we can get good results or bad results. pretty much what we do with LangGraph is like we create the process and the validations. Holy, what is that? Okay.
Sorry, I accidentally hit my microphone. My bad. Accidentally like hit it when I was moving my hand. Sorry.
So pretty much like LangGraph is that process of having the proper step by step and the proper validations at the end to be able to actually know that our output is exactly what we expect. That's pretty much what it is. And we can create the nodes, we can create the edges, we can create all the validations, if else, whatever, all that. And we get the LLMs to do very specific task on a specific step instead of just letting the LLM manage every single step. That's a bad idea, right?
Mhm.
So that's pretty much what it is. We use this internally and with clients, especially because it's really helpful. And one of the things is like it's really light. It doesn't use a lot of RAM. We can run this on VPS as long as we have, of course, external LLMs, right, not running locally. It's more than enough with the ship VPS. And you can do great things with it. You can do great things with it, and you can have like a memory save. You can have integrations with anything that you can imagine. With Postgres. You can save the data there. You can add evaluations to see if the output is exactly what you want, and if not, to run it again automatically. Like it's pretty cool. It's super cool. I'm not going to lie to you that this is way less exciting than agentic. Like
Yeah.
something that I'm going to make it like this loop and then we'll leave it to work for 4 hours. Yeah, of course it's not the same, right? Like it's not that exciting. This is a very boring 0 or 1. It is correct, yes or no. That's pretty much it. But in engineering and in businesses, a lot of times we need that boolean value, right? We need that. Hey, is it working? Yeah, okay, great. Like we need it most of the times, to be fair. Non-deterministic is a horrible idea, but we keep pulling the lever, to see if we get the right thing every single time. So yeah, that's my stack check. I'll say that specifically for this, go and try it for your team. Try with
Mhm.
very small integrations and processes. Okay, something as simple like as taking one Excel document, extract some things, and then write another document. That's a great use cases for this type of tools. Uh, you should probably try with something like that, a very simple thing, and you'll be amazed how great things you can build. Uh,
Yep.
Fun enough, one of my neighbors, he's not a programmer, okay, but he's literally hired regularly by businesses to pretty much do this, just automations, just
Mhm.
these automations, and he has no idea what a for loop is or none of these things. But it's really friendly if you have the UI version, or if not, you can use make.com or one of those wrappers literally on top of it, right? But he gets paid for this. He gets paid for this.
Mhm.
Like it's obvious that there's a market for there. And again, we try to use this for our clients when they need a process done where you need the LLM to amplify the process, right? Instead of the LLM being the process. That's the way to see these things.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I like this one because, and like you said, you brought up a couple things. The whole time you were explaining this, I'm like, man, this sure sounds a lot like N8N. Then you said, yeah, it's like N8N. It is. And like you
Mhm.
said, this is also a lot less sexy than like an agentic like model that can destroy the planet and hack everybody's computers. This is much more like boring, right? Like this is like how you automate things at a much bigger scale, like without code. This is a low to no code automation tool, right? And the thing that I keep thinking about, right, is you keep saying it, right? It's non LLMs are non-deterministic, and that's the worst part about them, right? And like whenever I'm working with clients or whenever, like you've been in the room with me, where I keep telling them like, hey, these LLMs, they're great, but we should build code in this deterministic way. And they're like, I thought you're like a pro AI guy. And I'm like, I am, but like AI kind of sucks at this. Like,
Yeah.
so like we could use AI to generate this content, but we still have to write out this very nitpicky, very nitty gritty deterministic code to make sure we're not, just funneling crap from the LLM to the user, right? Because that's going to degrade your client's trust in you immediately. They get like a horrible response. They're going to say, this is garbage. I don't want to use this ever again. So that's why like I'm very, very meticulous in like building deterministic code around the non-deterministic LLM prompts, right? And it's not fun. Like it is ugly. It is, it's like we're not really getting our hands dirty, but we're figuratively getting our fingers dirty because we're writing this like very, very structural code around these outputs. And I'm glad that your neighbor is getting paid to do this, but like if you want to be like on the fringe of this, if you're running like an enterprise company, you know what it's like to be locked into a huge, disgusting monolithic repository that your entire company runs off of, right? You got like one repo, 1,000, 1,500 files. Each one of them's like 20,000 lines long, and you can't change anything, or it's going to break something across the hall. And that's one thing with this LangGraph. Like if you do decide to adopt this into your processes, especially if you're a young company, you're like a fresh company, you do run the risk, I think personally, of running into that same problem just with LangGraph or with N8N or with whatever tool you decide to use. You run the risk of becoming locked into that vendor if you don't truly believe, or if you don't truly understand rather, how it's actually working, right? And it's the same thing as the last one. If you can't decouple yourself from it, you can't learn what you can from the process and build it out yourself, you're going to have a bad time. And that's the main problem, right? These things are awesome. I think this is a great tool. I'm not going to say it's a bad tool. I think it's an amazing tool, especially for people who are non-technical and aren't really like code writers. But I think the important thing is, as I just said, don't rely on it, because then you're going to be one of these. If your company blows up, it's really great. 10 years from now, you're going to be hiring some intern to like restructure your N8N workflows into whatever the newest one is.
If it even exists, right? Or
Right.
make.com, yeah,
Because that
100% agree.
website goes down, your company's gone, right?
Yeah, actually, that's one of the reasons why I like LangGraph, because to a point, this is just, well, there are two versions. There's the Python version, there's the JavaScript version. This is just code, right? Like it's nothing too fancy. If anytime you want to fork this to do the changes that you need to for something very specific, you can do it. Like it's not that complicated, and that's what I like it. That's what I like it, because it's more flexible. It can be more flexible to your needs than using make.com, for example, like, or N8N. I can say that like they couldn't come with a better, easier name, like Juan.com. I don't know, whatever, like this is so.
I don't know, N8N. Yeah. Good for them though. Everyone knows it. It's recognizable.
Tongue twister for Mexicans, because I just cannot. Yeah. Right? Like it's
non-native English speakers. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
Like, you ever ask a Scottish guy to say purple burglar alarm? I don't know if it's Scottish or like Irish, but they can't say it.
Oh yeah,
they can't say purple burglar alarm. It's like impossible.
Purple burglar alarm. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
I hate it now.
Purple burglar alarm.
Damn. That's annoying,
huh? Hey, you wanna do our unpopular opinions?
Yeah, let's jump into unpopular opinions. Okay, so this is going to be annoying. Okay, but the ban on Fable 5 and Mythos 5 is actually the best thing that could happen to open weights model. And so, long story short, like Washington just proved that a closed frontier model is a model that the government can turn off. That's literally what it is. It is nothing else, nothing more. We were very happy for 70 2 hours, and then on Friday it's like nope, right? And it's over. It's over for you, and it's really bad because like the whole idea about non-Americans cannot get this is like, yeah, well, half of their teams are non-Americans. What are they going to do with this? Like it gets really complicated, and I even have a conspiracy theory about this. That is that I think the U.S. government will force people to give up their citizenships and to get an American citizenship if they want to work in these AI labs. I really believe it. I really believe it. I think it will
That'd be
happen
interesting.
eventually. It's one of the. Okay, of course. Please don't listen to this thing like it will happen. Okay, this is why I'm saying it's a conspiracy theory. Okay, but this is the
Yeah.
best thing that could happen to open weight models, right? Because you're getting regulated. While the Chinese, while they love regulation, they don't love regulation on this because they can win, right? So they will do everything in their power, everything they can to try to go ahead. I wouldn't say the same about the European Union because they cannot do anything. I'm sorry, guys. You suck. All your Mistral. I think that's the only one actually, which is the saddest thing in the universe. Like the Europeans won't be able to do this, but the Chinese will. They are really smart people. They are really resourceful people, and even with all the regulations that they have on GPUs about not being able to get the latest GPUs for the training and everything, they have come to your side with some decent models and getting regulated and at that level that the government can say nope, you cannot put that anymore. That's crazy. That's crazy. We can get super fast, like, oh well, you can get like, they will get faster and the Americans labs will get slower, sadly. And look, okay, I don't have a fight, a dog in this fight, right? I'm not American, which I live a few years there, but I'm not American. And we work mostly with American clients, and we have been doing so for a long, long time. But I will say that I would prefer a million times that the United States of America wins the I race than China or the European Union, for that matter. And some people will get triggered about this, because the European Union is so good.
Don't tell
No.
Henry. Don't tell
Yeah,
Henry,
yeah,
our COO.
he won't be he won't be happy.
He won't be
He believes
heartbroken.
in them. Yeah, he believes in them. I don't.
Yeah.
Like I think they will actually use it for evil stuff. That's the reality. That's what I imagine. And I'm not saying the United States won't use the models for evil stuff. Okay, I'm just saying that at least there is this culture of freedom that I really like and respect about the United States. I love it. And that's not something that exists in Europe or in China. And for that matter, it's quite the opposite. Like you will get regulated into destruction, pretty much. So I don't want them to get slower. I want the American labs to be faster, to be able to build faster, to do great things, to be able to provide these amazing tools to everybody, right? But this feels the opposite.
I
This
agree.
feels like the beginning of the end of a dead spiral from a point of view.
Yep.
So yeah, so that's my popular opinion.
I mean, I agree with it. You actually, that was my unpopular opinion too. We got like the same one. So I got a second one. I always keep it back up. But I wanted to touch on yours because I keep wondering where this is even coming from, right? Like America always wants to be on the forefront. They want to be on like the cutting edge. They want to be on the fringe. But like right now, it seems like they're like handcuffing like their own labs. They're putting ankle weights on their own labs in a sprint. And I do agree. This is a long-term thing, right? It's because if it's a sprint, like every lab is going to win a different race, right? And we've seen that from time and time again. If this is a long-term play, right? And I don't see it. Maybe I'm just not galaxy brained enough to see it, but like maybe it is something like you said, like maybe this is like some type of play where we only want Americans having this. If you're not American, become one. And like, if you're one of these engineers that can build the best of the best, we'll get you on a fast track to that, right? But then it makes me wonder, like, what about dual citizens? Like, do you have to be just an American? Like, what if you're, because there's a lot of dual citizenship holders in America and
Mhm.
somewhere else. Like, at what point are they gonna like fragment and say you have
Chinese
to?
and American.
Yeah, then what? But like, it brings me back. We just spent the past, hour talking about durability, checkpoints, lane graph, rollbacks, durable states in Postgres, like all this stuff. And when the real problem, the real bottleneck is if you're using a tool and the government says it's gone, you can't like it's tough to defend against that. There's no N8N workflow you can put in to say, hey, our best model's gone and now all our responses suck, right? So you can
Mhm.
checkpoint every node, you can survive every crash, you can gracefully, cause exceptions, you can handle all these problems. But you wake up, Saturday morning and someone's calling you saying, hey, our agent's dead, like Fable's gone. What do we do?
Literally,
I
this
mean,
is what
there's
happened to us. Like,
So, the most important durability decision right now is in production in 2026 for production AI is not your orchestration framework. It's whether the intelligence layer can be revoked by someone not even part of your contract, and that's a scary thing, I think. Um, so I totally agree with your unpopular opinion. I wonder if more people than just me and you agree with that. I'd be interested to hear. So I digress. Let's get to my unpopular opinion. Number two, my second unpopular opinion, because my first one was taken by Oscar. So everybody this past week was talking about Fable, us included, right? And they missed the money. You know what I mean? I said I'm not a finance guy, and I still hold that I'm not a finance guy. But Anthropic spent the last week getting its best model out into the public and then frozen by the government. Meanwhile, the other guys, they spent the last however many weeks making sure that their CFO can't say no to going public IPO. And if this is a money play, then they're going to win. They're going to win by leaps and bounds, no matter how good Anthropic's model is. Once they go IPO, everyone's jumping on board. Everyone's jumping on the bandwagon. Everyone's throwing money at them, even more than they're getting now. And if they make enough off this public IPO, they might even make enough to absorb Anthropic and all their good models. And then those models are going to go right to the government, right to Oracle. And, it's like a big amoeba, right? A small amoeba who's really like fast, or a big amoeba that's slow and just eats it, right? Like
mhm.
it's it's an unpopular opinion because it's the same reason it's unpopular for someone to say, hey, buy Bitcoin, back in 2005. Everyone's like, why would I buy Bitcoin? It's stupid. It's like nothing. But, I'm personally, I'm going to start reading into some more finance knowledge, like some more finance resources, because I want to be ready when this does go public to make a decision whether or not like I should buy in, and if so, how much. Because I could see this being like the next SpaceX IPO. Like you said, it could be another $1 trillion buy-in. You could make a lot of money, but it's an unpopular opinion because playing the stock market, buying stocks, like reading up on this stuff, and like this is I'm kind of like our whole shtick here is like we don't buy into the hype. So that's
Mhm.
this is all hype. That's all the stock market is totally hype. And that's why I've never really looked into it before. But since like AI is starting to get into that space, I think that's some homework for myself. I'm going to have to start looking into it and becoming more serious about paying attention to this stuff, because we're up to date on all the AI news, but like the AI news is starting to converge with financial news. So it's
which
unpopular
is
opinion. You're going to have to start reading into this.
which is insane, but you are 100% right. There's no financial or tech is the same one now, because everything in finance now depends on tech, on AI, which is it's it's very weird to even say this out loud. It doesn't make any sense in my head, but it's true. It's true. It's true. 100% true. Uh, well, before we finish the podcast, I want to say, as you can see, this is a different podcast. It's going to be actually the shortest podcast that we ever recorded. There's a reason for this. Matt is busy with his family, and as you can see, I'm holding my microphone in my hand because I'm not at my house. I am at at my in-laws' house, and I just got the most basic things that I was able to get with me to record the podcast. But as you can imagine, we really appreciate that you listen to the podcast. We really appreciate your time, and we don't want to fail any week ever. Our plan is 100 episodes nonstop, 200, 1,000, all of them if we can.
Every
Okay,
week, no matter what, every week.
consistency always.
Yeah.
So this is why we found a way to make it work, at least if it's a short one. And well, so many things happened that we needed to do it anyway. It's like that's the reality. We need to find a way. So yeah, well, that's the podcast. Thank you very much for being part of this, for listening to us, and we will see you in the next episode. My name is Oscar Galo.
I'm Matt Wozniak. If you got anything you want to reach out to, email is hi, or is it hello? It's hi at valleyseed.com.
Yes.
Hi at valleyseed.com. We'll put another one here. Thanks for watching.
Yes.
See you next week.
Somewhere. Perfect.
Bye.